Hello and welcome to the Optimize Show. I am David Mamano, your host, and here I've got a really kind of a special show, a unique show. I wanted to bring aboard our founding sponsor for the Optimize Show, Linder from Emerge. Leo.
Thanks, Dave. Great to be here.
Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for making the show possible.
Well, it's, we had a common vision and we were able to come together with it and really make it happen. So I'm excited to be here. And
two crazy maverick entrepreneurs, right? Here we are, right?
Privileged to be a part of it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So you are the founding sponsor supporting the show. Thank you for that with your company, Emerge.
Yeah.
Tell us, give us the journey of you and Emerge. I've heard it, but I want to hear it again because it's such a great story.
Sure. So Emerge is a growth company. What we do is we provide products and services that allow companies to grow. So we largely try to address the talent problems companies have, the technology problems companies have, and the growth problems that companies have. So that translates in regular language to sales, a lot of staffing and recruiting services, and then we develop software, SaaS products, to enable those to happen in a more efficient manner.
I love it. So, some people say, Emerge is staffing, recruiting, placement company, but it's like that on steroids. Is that fair to say? I mean, because you do that,
absolutely.
But so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. So for instance, if we're helping a company take their software product to market, and that product might be sold all over the world. It might be sold in some of the hyperscaler marketplaces like AWS Marketplace or Microsoft Azure's Marketplace. Those are very complex selling environments. So the first thing that we need to do is build a team. So that's where talent becomes the raw material of the new construction, right? When we're building a new team, first thing you gotta do is get the people right? Next, it's the strategy. Then you need to execute. And that's where our software products come in. For instance, Growth Cloud is one of the products that we developed to be able to help companies sell more. In particularly high-tech companies in financial services industries. It just allows them to sell more product faster in a variety of places.
That's fantastic. So I've heard the elevator story. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's you're such a great storyteller too. Tell it. So this is kind of the genesis of Emerge, exploding into a large company. So I think, right? So can we hear that story?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
It's like the kid, say it again. Right?
Say it again. Yeah.
Read it again.
No, thanks. No, it's my pleasure to tell it because it really was the antithesis of an entrepreneur's existence, right? You start a new company, you go into the office and you sit down on a couple lawn chairs and you're all looking at each other like, all right, so now what?
Yeah.
Right?
What do we do?
Is the business just gonna fly through the window? I mean, what's gonna happen? So obviously the realization was that unless you get out, right? Go talk to people, be part of what's going on around you, it just doesn't happen, right? Lightning doesn't strike indoors. So first thing, I knew I needed to get outdoors. So I got on a bunch of airplanes, started visiting customers and prospects. So I'm in New York City and, it's a hot day and I'm hot under the collar. I can barely function and I'm nervous because I know I need a deal.
Yeah.
I need a deal. Like at a brand new company, we completely changed everything we do and I need to make this work. So I go, I hit the elevator button, right? And I'm like, oh man, this has gotta happen.
Right.
So I'm taking the elevator up and it's getting hot. It's getting really, really hot. Mm-hmm. And I go up and I talk, and I see this prospect. I talk to him like, okay, that wasn't so bad. Mm-hmm. That wasn't bad at all. All right, I can do this.
Good call.
Come on, game on. So I get on the elevator to leave. And as I get on the elevator, two other people got on at the same time. Mm-hmm. And they start talking about mega and and they're talking about high value. And these are all trigger words for entrepreneurs that are into, segmentation marketing and understanding propensity-based marketing and things like that. So I said, these guys are targeting high value customers. That's our jam. We get that. We understand, that type of marketing and selling. And so I took a risk and I opened my mouth. I said, hey, are you guys talking about advanced analytics and targeted marketing and value-based selling? And they're like, yeah, who are you? And I'm like, well.
You know those words?
Yeah, exactly. I said, well, actually.
That's what we do.
No, yeah. And so literally from the floor where we got on to the floor that they got off, they invited me out of the elevator and into a conference room. We talked for about a half an hour and they said, can you come back next Wednesday? And we think we really want to work with you on this brand new program. And that was the program that we needed. I mean, that was the foundational piece that we needed to really take our vision of saying, we can help companies grow.
Yeah.
Companies need growth as a service.
Yep.
Right? And they materialized it, but it only happened when I got out of my chair, left the comfort of our office, you know, now mind you, it was pretty thin. We were a startup at the time, right?
Yeah.
But we got out of the office, we got out in the wild, started talking to people, and that elevator ride is what literally changed our fortune because it allowed us to sort of finance our vision, build software, bring in more complex ways to find the right talent. We started using psychometrics because when we took on that job, we had to get it right. Yeah. We had one shot. Yeah. One shot, because the payback period is 12 months. Yeah. A lot of times our customers, we talk about making an investment, and then when does that investment come home? Well, depending on their budget cycle, is it a quarter, 2 quarters, a year? So we had 12 months to invest in this program, make it successful, and hit monster numbers, like with a lot of zeros, only possible in financial services companies, right?
Right, yeah.
So we wound up being very successful in it, but it was because we were able to put the team together, put together the methodologies to pick the right team, train the team, develop the team, and then really just execute, and it worked out. And that's what we've been replicating ever since.
I love so many parts of this story because, first of all, getting out of the office. What you said, lightning doesn't strike indoors.
Lightning doesn't strike indoors.
Yeah. No. I know when I started my first company, that's what my dad said. He goes, "Get out. There's no customers in the office." I'm like, "You're right. Very well said. Get out." I guess they used to say that at Kodak when he was at Kodak. Get out. There's no customers in the office.
Yeah.
So you got out, and then just the pure serendipity of the elevator ride. If you were like a minute later. You would have missed seconds later. You would have missed that opportunity, all that revenue, and really where the company is today.
What's funny and why I told the story in that order and explained that I was out of sorts, I was hot on the way up, right? I felt the temperature, I felt my stress levels going up.
Yeah.
There was probably another opportunity in the elevator on the way up.
Right.
But my ears weren't open to it.
Yeah, you were right? Too hot. Yeah.
I went, I talked to a prospect, I broke the ice for myself, and then on the way down, that's when I started looking around and listening what's going on around me. So it's I had to get in the right headspace, number one, and number two, obviously you need the courage to talk to strangers on the elevator, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a leap for some. I'm kind of shy.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe you think you're an introvert, but you're really not.
I'm really not. No, but getting out of the comfort zone and being in the right headspace is really what enables those opportunities to happen.
Well, if there's like a lesson plan here, step 1, get out of the office. Step 2, take some chances. Like you probably went to New York and maybe you're like, I have some appointments, but I'm also ready to wing it a little bit. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're never ready. We're absolutely never ready.
Yeah.
And like I said, we help a lot of our customers grow. I mean, and that's all the way from helping them find the budget, come up with a strategy, come up with the execution plan, come up with all the collateral, come up with the software in order to enable it, and then be able to roll it out and look at it from an analytical perspective and say, we did well. Here's, where we got a great return. Here's where we got a marginal return. Yeah. So let's do better next time, right? Yeah. And being able to understand that whole life cycle, ingest it, and just make it a part of the culture, make it a part of what we do and how we operate, it's almost like you can't unlearn it, or you can't unsee something once you see it.
Right, Yeah, who was it? I think it was the founder of LinkedIn said that if you wait till perfection, you're going to be way too late. Something of that nature. Like at some point, you just got to release it, and you're going to learn, right?
Exactly. You've got to trust the fact that you have a process. You're never going to have the right pitch deck with everything in it. But what you will have is practice.
Yeah.
Practice in not necessarily just improvising, but practice in your craft, in the process. I mean, what I did know is that I knew that we had a very, very clear understanding as to how to get the job done.
Yeah.
Like, we knew our products and services extremely well. We did our homework there.
Yeah.
Now, everybody will tell you that is an experienced business development person that it's not about if you're selling products and services, you're dead, right? It's about connecting with the person that you want to do business with, understanding their problem, completely personalizing anything you're doing, have authentic empathy, totally understand what their issues are, and then address that. And that's usually where you're not prepared enough.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no excuse for you not to know what you're doing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But you can't lead with you got to lead with we.
Right.
Right? We can help you grow. We can help you solve your talent problem. We can help you evolve your organization. And maybe I don't have all the answers because I'm not you and I haven't asked the right questions yet, but we can explore this journey together and grow together as a partnership.
Right.
So,
So when they pulled you aside off the elevator, did you have all the answers at that meeting?
Absolutely not.
Let me guess. You probably walked out of the meeting like, I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I am going to figure it out, right?
Yeah, it was funny because they said, okay, it was a real big number. They said, all right, what we need to do is increase our most valuable customer base. So they took all of their customers and they said, here's the top 3% and the top 15%. Okay, and we want to treat our 4 to 15% customers differently. Why? Because we think they can spend more money with us, right? And we also want to protect them because we don't want to lose them, right? So we ran a program to address that 4 to 15%. Right? Those are what we call high potential customers, right? Because we want to get more of their share of wallet, whatever they're spending. We want to protect them. And when you think about it, it's really important for the company. So you can't mess up, right? You've got to do it right.
Right. Yeah.
And so the first comment to me was, well, we think we can, let's double it, right? These numbers are astronomical. We're like, this goal is really, really big. So I left thinking, how can we not only not mess up, right, but also live up to this huge goal of which we were able to, by the way. On both counts. We didn't mess up. We kept the customers, kept churn low, kept the ROI where it needed to be so that the program could ultimately be funded long term. And I think that's always the lesson that we found out is understand the investment, understand the expectation, and then make sure you execute. And so, by no stretch of the imagination did I know what we would have to do to essentially double the output of that customer segment. So I went home scratching my head saying, all right, we better get a whiteboard in here and get to work.
We better have all the walls be whiteboards, right?
Put the coffee on, fire it up, we need it.
And you figured it out. So, and to make it simplistic, I mean, essentially what you did for that company is so they needed a new division of salespeople, right? So not only did you hire the salespeople, but Emerge also trained them, right? So we always talk about people, performance, profit. So you found the people, you trained them with sales training, assessments like predictive index, et cetera. You trained them, and then you made sure that they were profitable. Right,
we executed
the
group, and that's the different. And it's interesting because there's different business models out there. Sometimes you hear about the quote unquote staffing business model, which might be providing a company with the right workforce, right? A managed service is kind of the same thing where you're providing the workforce, but you're also responsible for that team's performance and business objectives, right? So once you take that staffing engagement and sort of evolve it into a service, or sometimes they call it a business service, it's very, very important that you not only know the business, but you can do the job almost as good or better than it can be done internally, right? Because at that point, we're the domain experts in that in that area
Yeah.
because a company that is usually launching a new product, or they're a marketing company trying to convert sales, do a direct sale, or a lot of times companies that sell through complex through channel partners or alliances. These are very complex environments. So if you're very successfully selling your, product A, and you're coming out with a brand new product, you're not going to have the sales team, right? You're not going to have essentially the routes to market solidified. You don't really know how to sell this new thing, right? And you don't want to take your current team off that's paying the bills and keeping the lights on to go try something new.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you want to give that sales team new products to sell, right, that integrates. But sometimes what it does, it makes sense to launch new products and services in new markets in new ways. And that's where we really excel. We do a lot of new routes to market, a lot of new product launches. And then as that program or product matures and we figure out what the best customer segmentation is, what the best execution route, what the best treatments are, then very typically we'll go from 12 different ways to bring a company to market down to 3, right? And then that's the time to move those learnings and that execution model over to the running business and hand it off to the internal sales team.
Yeah, that's so fantastic. And I think the best way to describe Emerge is is not staffing, recruiting, et cetera. It's more like we want to grow, help us grow.
Yeah. We always talk about talent for growth, tech for growth, and teams for growth. Because you need all 3. You can't do one without the other. The human component is the most important part of any managed service, any staffing engagement, any direct hire. Companies that need key individuals to grow got there first because a lot of times if you want to grow your business, you don't even have the right people in the room to decide how to do it.
Right.
Now, that can be humbling if you're already in the company, right? And to grow, sometimes you have to recognize we just need some fresh faces. We need some fresh perspectives. And so that's why the talent piece is so important no matter what the engagement model is. Get the talent right. Get the right people in the room. Develop the first step strategy. Develop the long arm of execution. Understand how we're going to learn, report, and evolve. Then, and only then, will we be able to feel really good about addressing huge growth goals. Because those, we've got somebody in our organization that always talks about a double, right? How do we double the revenue, right? Double the profits, and then double them again, right? I mean, because that's essential.
Is that person you?
No, no, but I feel the pain of it, right? We got to deliver on that. But the idea is that growth it's important because we've all heard the term, if you're not growing, you're dying. It's not necessarily that dire, but growth is really important because what happens is most businesses, they'll get to a certain level. Okay, and then there's always small things that happen, right? You chip away, you lose a customer, you lose some pricing, a customer needs, hey, times are tough, interest rates are high, we need to pay a little less, right? So what happens is all companies are feeling the pressure of decline. So what happens is you got to grow to offset those declines, right? In the tendency is to want to incrementally add. We can do business development one step at a time, and you have to master that. But unless you can grow in large chunks, you can't absorb huge shifts in the business climate. Because if you ever lose more than just one client at a time or just absorb some pricing issues, then you're in big trouble. So we've got to put incremental growth together with large spurts, big intentional efforts to be able to grow the business, right? Have a long-term vision, have a medium-term plan that we feel really, really good about, and then make sure, of course, that we execute on that incremental growth. If we put all 3 of those together, incremental growth, intermediate plan that we feel really confident that we can execute on, and a longer term vision that's a little bit more of a stretch. Now we got a package of growth that'll help address the issues of, hey, price compression, losing a client here or there you don't expect. That way, if we really, hit a bump in the road, maybe lose a couple clients or hopefully not, but if you do, you at least are right in the middle of a plan of what we call really explosive growth that's under control. Mm-hmm. It's like a controlled explosion, right? You want it to be very well thought out. You want to have a 6 month, we always talk about 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and 5 year, right? That's a lot of bullet points, but those are usually the demarcation points where you sort of feel it because of budgetary cycles, right? I mean, companies are usually thinking in quarters and annual, so you got to go get budget, you got to invest in something, and then, hey, it's the end of the year, how'd we do, right? So you got to kind of respect those natural gaps that a company has in their thinking and say, well, what's the plan? Well, what's the budget and what's the accounting period the fiscal period that we're talking about here, because that's how you're going to measure the success of a growth initiative.
Right, gotcha. I love it. So what is a company, the term client avatar, what is the ideal company that Emerge can help? We're right for the same company.
Right. Yeah. So we focus on really helping companies grow in a couple industries and verticals. I'll point to those because they're usually easy to describe. So we do a lot of work in financial services, high tech, software, manufacturing, and I think the way that manifests itself, we do some work in healthcare as well, more in the medical device space. But I think the commonality there is that the products and services are built to scale, right? And the idea is that you want to be able to put together a growth plan where you hit that double, right? Companies that are ready to grow, double their revenue, double their profits, and then double them again. Yeah. That's the type of space. So for instance, in financial services and software, it's really easy. Why? Because the software scales essentially infinitely, right? In financial services, or a lot of our client partners that, for instance, might be in the credit card space or lending space or other business services space, they can really absorb all the business that they can possibly handle. Those are easy layups, right? Yeah. I mean, we can scale and grow massive numbers in those areas. Right. And some of our other clients, what they need is the talent first in order to enable their business to make more product, right? I can't sell anymore because I've got a talent issue. Yeah. Right? So that's where our talent team can help solve those issues, get the right engineers in place, get the right operations managers in place. Now they can scale, and now they're ready to double. Okay? So that's the idea, is growth is not about just sales. Growth is about making the entire organization growth ready.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to your talent piece, optimizing the talent, optimizing the people, because that's going to flow to everything else, right?
Absolutely.
Yep, I love it. Well, Leo Linder, CEO of Emerge, I want to thank you so much for being a founding sponsor of the Optimize Show. I love hosting it. I love the show. I think we're helping a lot of people with the show. Yeah. We're getting some great guests in, like yourself, where we're getting best practices from best-in-class companies, right? And sharing the love. What's the saying? The high tide raises all the ships. So, thank you for doing what you're doing to make a big impact in really the world. I want to say we're here in Rochester, but
I appreciate
you are Emerge is global, right? And you're doing some great things. So, thank you for doing what you're doing. And again, thanks for being the founding sponsor of the Optimize Show.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, Dave.
We appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm here with Leo Linder, CEO of Emerge. Appreciate you all. Make sure to watch every Wednesday morning, brand new episodes. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, the whole works. Have a great day. Make sure to stay awesome.